Today we present Christmas Morning Magic. Now here's your host, Natalie Martin.
Hi, welcome to Christmas Morning Magic. I'm your host, Natalie Martin. Today we're going to be making some really delicious waffles. Some people don't always think that the effort is really a big deal at breakfast time, but it definitely is. You just have to be better than the box sometimes. So this is a really simple recipe that I have for a Belgian waffle. First we're going to start out with 1 3/4 cup of flour. For time's sake, I went ahead and already pre-measured it out. Typically you might want to sift it through. It would give you like a much fluffier waffle. The second thing that we're going to need is 2 tablespoons of sugar. Just your basic run-of-the-mill sugar, nothing too fancy. The first time I did this recipe, I thought, more sugar, too much of a good thing is still a really good thing. And I put in a lot of it. You don't want to do that because it really comes out tasting like crap. So I strongly recommend that you don't put in extra sugar. Follow the recipe exactly. 2 tablespoons of sugar. You're going to kind of want to mix that in a little bit. And then after that, you're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Baking powder is not the same thing as baking soda, I also found out. Cooking has been like a really long road for me. So you're going to want to put in 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And here we have that. This is going to be the brand that you typically buy. This is what it looks like. It took me forever to find it. So take a good look at that one. So there's the 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And we're just going to keep mixing that in. If you mix in between, it kind of gives you you're able to really incorporate the mix together. So the next thing is 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So this is your actual baking soda. I keep mine in a mason jar because that box just really doesn't do anything, but you all know where to find that. So just your baking soda, 1 teaspoon of it. Toss that into our mix. There we go. Go ahead and incorporate that. So we've got a nice little mix of a bunch of white powders. Delicious. And then we're going to do 1 teaspoon of salt. Just your basic table salt, nothing fancy. You don't want to do sea salt. Let's go ahead and do 1 tablespoon of that. Got that all over the table. Toss it in there. Mix it up. All right, so you want to do your dry ingredients first because they just sit. After that, in a separate bowl, you're going to want to get your wet ingredients. So here we've got a smaller one because it's not quite so much. The first thing you're going to do is 1 3/4 cup of buttermilk, just your general buttermilk. And we'll go ahead and measure that out. And so we've got the buttermilk, 1 3/4 cup. It's going everywhere. And we'll mix that in first. Pour it into your smaller bowl. So there we go. Now we're done with that. Then you're going to want to add 2 eggs. We'll mix that in. Make sure that you get the eggs all nice and cracked. And then from there, we'll go ahead and add 1/2 cup of unsalted butter that's melted. This is kind of the trickier ingredient. You're going to want to melt this well ahead of time, simply because you want it to be room temperature. If it's really, really hot, it's going to mix in with that cold buttermilk and those cold eggs, and it's going to end up crystallizing in there. So you want it to be perfect room temp. And so there we have that. We'll pour that in there and then finish mixing that up. All right, and when we go ahead and come back, we're going to mix the 2 batters together and put them on the skillet to go. Enjoy this commercial.
Are you tired of your fishing rod not holding up in moments when it counts? Never worry about that again. Introducing the new state-of-the-art Patriot Rod, the only rod you'll ever use again. The Patriot fishing rod is ultra-sensitive, lightweight yet durable and flexible. This rod has new titanium-infused technology, which sets it apart from every other rod. Plus, new Teflon-coated eyelets, which makes for a smooth cast and reel. Call today and receive your very own Patriot Rod.
Hi, welcome back to Christmas Morning Magic with me. Where we left off, we were mixing up most of the wet ingredients in our small bowl. One ingredient that we hadn't done yet was a teeny tiny splash of vanilla. You can go with or without the vanilla. I choose to go with, but you don't want to put too much because then your waffles are going to come out a really icky brown color and they're going to look kind of burnt even if they're not. So just add in a nice little dash and we'll go ahead and mix that up. And you'll see that I have like a really, really nice consistency here. There's not any little chunks of butter because it was at perfect room temperature. So you're going to want to definitely make sure that you watch out for that. Now we'll bring our nice big bowl in front of us and we'll pour that mix in. It's really, really important at this point not to overmix because you don't want it to get too, you kind of want it to be a nice thick batter. That way you'll get a nice thick waffle. So go ahead and mix that in really, really well. And from there, once you just kind of see that all the dry flour has been kind of incorporated into the wet batter, you're ready to go. So there we go. We're kind of making sure that we get everything nice and folded in. You don't want to go crazy. You don't want to just sit there and stir like a nutcase because that's going to give you a really nasty batter and your waffle's going to look real sorry for itself. So we've got our nice little batter ready to go. Now we'll go ahead and go to our little waffle maker here. Old trusty. He's hot. Less is more when it comes to the cooking spray. You only really need to do this for your first waffle, and then the rest will have enough residual spray to go. I have a nice little ladle, and this amounts to about a little less than 1 cup of batter that I'm going to go ahead and put in there. And we'll go ahead and ladle that in. There we go. Make sure that all the batter gets in there in a nice round shape. Close it up. I'll grab my phone and I'll set a nice little timer. And we'll wait for 2 minutes. During that time, it's always a good idea to use your time effectively. We'll go ahead and cut strawberries to top our waffle with. Normally I would go ahead and start doing the dishes. There's nothing worse than having a ton of clutter in your sink. So we'll cut up the nice little strawberries to top our waffle. And go ahead and dice them up. You can do like a really cute little poinsettia design with this. I've seen that done. I'm not quite as talented. From here you could also cut up some bananas, smear some peanut butter on your waffle. It ends up being really, really good. You can do just about anything. I've even served these as dessert. So we'll go ahead and get our fruit ready. You want to make sure that you cut enough for everybody to have some on there. And you can get all these nice and cut up. Strawberries aren't the only way to go, but I would definitely say that they're the best way to go when it comes to topping a waffle because they look pretty. They always look festive for Christmas, and they just taste really delicious. We'll go ahead and get some of this Ready Whip to top with the strawberries, and we'll get our plate ready. We've got just a little bit of time left, 22 seconds until our waffle comes out, and then we can go ahead and enjoy all that is amazing in this world. Go ahead and have our syrup. A lot of times you'd want to warm up your syrup and then put it in a nice little jug for everybody. That makes it a lot better, and it makes it, I mean, it's Christmas morning, you know, you want to do something a little bit special. So it looks like our waffle is officially ready. Pop it open. Pop your yummy little waffle out. There we go. Okay, we're going to put some nice little strawberries on top. Maybe put a couple on the side, and then we will top it off with some of our Ready Whip. All right, and then here we go. We've got the perfect breakfast for Christmas morning. I hope that y'all give this a try and have a very, very Merry Christmas.